now we move on to Russia.
Russia's like the heartbreak of the season, you know.
Yeah. It was sad to see. You didn't want to see
Lando took pole. Lando led most of the race after he overtook Carlos. Lando did incredibly well, and then I think the team bowed down to McLaren haven't led a race and been at the front since. Obviously, they had the Monza thing, but Monza thing was clear. But in changing conditions, realistically, since Brazil 2012 maybe, so they haven't been the lead car. And I think it just got to them and they couldn't do it.
They haven't properly fought for a win since 2014.
No, 2012.
Was their car good in 13? Mm-hmm. Oh, actually no, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't old.
So it was a bit of a shock for them, and they didn't know what to do. And then Lando ended up finishing P7, I think, and it was incredibly heartbreaking because it wasn't his fault. I think people come out and say it's Lando's fault, but it's not really. They asked him, "How do you feel?" He said, "I feel like I'm okay." He's obviously never led a race. He's talking about how he feels now. But the difference is with Lewis, they told him, "We have the data. This is what it says. Come in now." Lewis, that's the thing. People say, Lewis, listen. Lewis didn't listen to them. Lewis was on the radio complaining that, "No, I want to stay out." But they forced him in. But Lando, if you go listen to, I've listened to the whole radio. They asked him, "How does it feel?" He's like, "It's fine. Shut up. I don't want to talk." Obviously, he doesn't want to talk. He's in an incredibly stressful position. Yeah. He could get his first win, all of this. And they don't give him any information. If they tell him the rain is going to intensify, what is he going to say? "I want to pit now."
That's the main one. So Mercedes say the rain is going to get worse. McLaren say, they don't say it's going to get worse. They just say it's going to stay like this. So he's assuming it's doable, just a couple more laps. What's that, 5 minutes? Fine. But it turns out it was actually getting worse. That's what
I blame the team more than I blame
McLaren should have been listening to other teams' radios. If Mercedes is saying it's going to get worse and they're going to pit,
just pit.
You might as well pit. I don't know. It's tough. There's still a really funny clip actually of Stroll, and they say, "Stroll, do you want to come in?" He's like, "No, it's fine." And then as he says that, he goes sliding off into the barrier. I'll link that one. See, that will be the first video. The first video that we put in the
Verstappen put in a decent drive though. He went from P20 to P2. This was the
best. So he took his penalty. So if we go from the beginning, Lewis crashed, I believe, in practice, which was unlike him. Obviously, it's practice, but it's still fairly big crash, probably the first one we've seen from Lewis in a while. He then also crashes on the pit entry in qualifying, which, I'm not saying these are major events, but it's just something to note. Max takes his engine penalty, which is why he's last. On his comeback, on his way up the grid, he's doing extremely well, all of this stuff, solid stuff, overtakes Bottas so easily.
Bottas just lets him through.
Yeah,
Bottas also took a new ICU.
Oh yeah, this was Bottas engine penalty season. He was taking a penalty every race.
Yeah, Bottas took 6 engines by the end of the season.
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
I think Mercedes need to work on their engine for next year. They need reliability to go up.
Yeah, their performance is struggling at the moment. It's just weird. But Lando, we've spoken about this winning and then ends up finishing 7th, which it's so sad for him. He could have won. Interestingly, actually, on top of the stuff on the Autosport podcast I mentioned that I listened to, they said that Lewis was also told in this radio or Mercedes were aware Max had pitted. So they tell everyone come in. Max does because he's got nothing to lose. He's stuck in 7th. He's made his comeback drive and now he's stuck in 7th. He can't go anywhere. So he pits just might as well go for it. Lewis doesn't want to pit. He stays out an extra lap, and then they say, we know Max is on Interseats pitted, we might as well cover him. So then he comes in, and that's when he wins. So another one interesting to note, Max, got so lucky with the rain, but fair play to him. Obviously, we spoke about luck in the last one. He didn't have great luck running into the summer break.
I think up to the summer break, it was all against him, really. The only reason Lewis caught up to him was because Max DNF'd twice because of a Mercedes crashing into him, so...
Well, he finished, was it 9th in Hungary, but that's 2 points from what should have been, a lot.
Yeah. He would have either won or came P2 at least. So he'd have lost, realistically lost, 6 points or 7 points to Lewis. Worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, I've lost 8 if Lewis got fastest lap as well.
But he ended up losing 18.
Exactly.
This was Lewis's 100th win as well.
Yeah. I think that was see that like I would have like it's just like because Lando lost it at the end, you kind of like yeah he got his 100th win, but
yeah, I completely forgot about this because I mean people weren't really. He was chasing down Lando and he was close, but it didn't really look like he was actually.
No, Lando did a good job keeping Lewis behind. Like he genuinely did a good job.
So
yeah, it's just sad.
That was the 100th win. Something I actually forgot about as well. Like I remember where his 91st was because he equaled it in the Nürburgring, but like.
The only one I remember is like Turkey, where he won basically 7th.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That's the only
that
one
was
I
a
remember.
very good win. Well, we're moving on to Turkey now. Bottas wins ahead of Max Verstappen.
You know,
I can't believe Bottas actually won a race.
Like someone was commenting, Carlos who said that, oh, you know, like you won, and it's like Bottas won a race, and I went back and I was thinking, I was like, no, Bottas didn't win a race, and I actually had to open the website, go through all the races, like Bottas won a race. Oh my god, he actually won. I totally forgot.
It's so weird.
Bottas took pole and just led from the start, and no one saw him.
Yeah, it
was
incredibly
weird to
surprising.
See, like,
especially after last year, because last year in Turkey he spun like 14 times and stayed in the midfield. So
and he took fastest lap as well.
Weird stuff. Oh yeah, what a guy! Incredible domination from Bottas, really.
The only thing I think Hamilton didn't have a good weekend, so the only good thing was he took away points from Verstappen. I think at this point, going after Turkey, you can honestly say it was Max's championship to lose. Yeah, like at this point, it's his. Because Lewis was so far behind, you expect him to win at this point. I don't know how much you can get the points up, I think, on the Sky Sports one.
So,
at this point, like, he's firmly ahead.
There is. So the gap's, 12 points?
Yeah, so he is a good...
Wait, no, that's... Oh my god, it was 6. Whoops. Am I actually looking in the right place?
Yeah. But that's the thing, going into the US and Mexico and Brazil and all of those, the reason I say it's his championship to lose is because those tracks were very firmly in Red Bull's camp. Like all the other races that were coming up, I think the only one that you could look at and say could be Mercedes dominated is Saudi.
The US, I'd say.
The US
was meant to be Mercedes.
It's the US and Saudi, the rest are seen as Red Bull tracks.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't really know much about the new ones, but like even then, you'd assume Red Bull were going to do pretty well on them. I mean, they're street races and they're like high downforce, so you just back Red Bull for those. But yeah, so Bottas wins. Lewis he took an engine penalty, so that's the first one. The second thing is he's out on his tyres, and I think Verstappen second at this point. Lewis is either third or fourth, and Perez and Leclerc and those kind of drivers are catching up to him. There's about 8 laps to go, and Mercedes are waiting for it to transfer from inters to slicks because there'd been like no rain. But the problem with the Turkey surface, even though it wasn't as bad as last year, it was still not, like it just wasn't drying up. So they pit Lewis. He really didn't want to, but they pit him just to, try and avoid a puncture and stuff like this. He gets new intermediates. He's trying to hunt everyone down. He can't. The new intermediates have like no pace. Someone who did get that strategy to work was Ocon. He did the entire race with no stops. It's
Where
impressive
did he finish?
for him, to be fair. Let's get it. I don't think it was that impressive. 10th.
Yeah, but he still finished in the points. So.
It was alright, to be fair. Let's see where Alonso finished. 16th. Yeah. So there's that. More points lost, but
Lewis also, like, there was that big fight between him and Perez, where Perez did incredibly well.
It's a nice battle, yeah. This was the first time Perez and Lewis had properly had a little, like...
tussle.
Yeah. And it was good to see, actually, to be fair. It was quite entertaining.